It's like Extinction Bingo.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to apparently today's discussion on space horses for some effing reason. I
Listen,
don't know.
I mean,
Hey,
I think that he has a point that they're so integrated into our cultural understanding of things that we should have them in space. We should have
yeah,
some version of the mythology of the people in space should include horses.
Well,
yeah. I mean, you have a horse for every other terrain. Why not space?
I make no promises, but that may happen here. We'll see. I could think of something I could do with that just for giggles, but that's for later. So, hello all, welcome back to Star Trek Lexington, Last of the Line, which may or may not feature space horses. We shall see. How
Space
are
kelp,
what?
space kelpies.
Space
Yeah,
kelpies? Either of the above. How are you gentlemen doing today?
pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
That is good to hear. That's what I like to hear. Hopefully things get a little bit better with the game.
Mm,
So I'm gonna do what I always do now. Let's just for you guys and for our folks back home, let me give you a quick recap. So last week, your ship was attacked by three Lestran ships, led by a lord who had a very big vendetta against the Cochrans, and you guys are associated with the Cochrans as far as they're concerned. Um, they managed to disable the warp drive by ramming the ship with one of theirs. The remaining two cruisers attacked. You fired on them, but you were able to, due to the intrepid work of SORAB, repair everything and get on your merry way, which took like 30 minutes. And then I was like, well, damn, now what? So, next thing you did, you informed Lord Cledoux about it. He's happy that we didn't destroy the other ships. Uh, then you get a call from Teyvarr. Uh, First, they let you know that they've bought an extra 6 months using the design that we are able to send to them. So that extends
eh.
your deadline until November
Well, maybe they
before.
can use it again in like 3 months, and then keep pushing that bad boy off.
Well, you'll have to. I may or may not have a contingency.
Procrastination,
I may have a contingency for that, but we'll get to that. So,
Civil War.
no. So the Lexington arrived at the wormhole station, delivered the Denzite. You talked to the director, Dr. Engels, who was sad about Dr. Coulter. That's the lady who was brainwashed and left behind. Tried
The
to.
new director, right? Because wasn't she the
No,
director?
she was the vice director.
Right.
Yes, so she was the number two. And also, remember, found out that she had sabotaged some stuff apparently. So now they know why some of the tests had been failing.
Hmm.
So that's all sorted.
Beautiful.
Um, and this is when I started vamping. Um, so you started talking to Dr. Engels. He mentioned that a large portion of the Cochrane population is cloned. Uh, he mentioned a broad history of the Cochrans. Also gave you guys the captain's logs from the Cochrane back when they, like the first 27 years before they, from the wormhole when they first got here to when they actually found Terra 2 and that whole nightmarish story. I did post that in the on the Discord if y'all wanted to read it, because I spent way too much time writing it. Let's see. And where we left off was he had just expressed worry about reintegrating into the Federation, saying that it's not something that most people have thought of, but considering he's at the forefront of getting them back, he has to really think of all the implications. So he asked that to Sorab, but Tim was having a headache issue, which was totally fine, so we had to punt that until today.
Right.
So that is where we pick up. So
Okay.
he basically was just talking about how the dark history of the Cochrans, like the stuff they've
Mhm.
had to do, and he knows that after the eugenics wars, there is a prohibition against human cloning and all that. And is the
Real quick,
Federation? Yes.
when did the Klingons start? Like, because the Worf was born on a joint Klingon Federation colony planet.
Yes.
When did the Klingons and the Federation start working together in like
Um,
any serious way?
After 2293. So we knew about it, but that was long after the Cochrans came to this.
No, I know. I just want to know if I know about it.
Yes, you know about it.
Okay.
Yes. Worf was not around yet for quite a
No,
while.
yeah, I know.
Yeah. But yeah, reintegrating into the Federation, considering that the majority of their population is cloned, like what that might entail, what difficulties might arise with that. So he has expressed those concerns. So, Mr. Diplomat, what say you?
Well, I'm not really in a position to. I can't guarantee what the Federation will say about the cloning, especially. The social history. There's a certain amount to which it's understood that you have done what you need to do to survive here, and especially if things go well in negotiating a ceasefire and help to get home, that's going to really stand out as high marks um, that the Federation will be interested in. But ultimately, the Federation is not opposed to working with people who have, who've done some crazy stuff. I mean, you don't know this. This only very recently happened, but we've begun working on joint ventures with the Klingons recently. Um, and so there is the only issue that I think there's going to be, as long as there's interest in rejoining the Federation. The only problem that I see would be the cloning, which is going to be there. I can tell you, I'm certain that they will want to examine that cloning process and the result of it. Because if I remember correctly, what's actually banned is uh, enhancement. So the and so they're probably going to have a lot of questions about how faithful to pre wormhole humanity the cloning process has remained.
From
Is
what I understand of it, well, first of all, I'm one of the minority who is actually natural born, but from what I understand is, um, so like I was talking about with Dr. Coulter and all of her sisters, they were, I hate using the term bred, but they were bred specifically for intellectual endeavors. So yes, there is at least some degree. I'm not a biologist. I'm not involved in that field, but I know there is at least some degree of genetic manipulation involved. Um, I mean, what we've had to make more of than anything is soldiers and or people to man our ships because we've
right.
been in a war and we've wars require a lot of people. So we have bred generations now of people whose, I mean, we didn't make them mindless zombies. They're still fully fledged people, but they were raised and they were designed and raised with an emphasis on physical ability, sharpness of mind in order to um, judge tactical situations. You get the idea. What would make a good soldier or a good uh, ship officer?
For example, a kamikaze pilot who seems to be way too patriotic and results in an entire entire sequence having to blow up a ship. He was genetically designed for that job.
um, well, as I said, ultimately, any decisions okay, any decisions about their place in Starfleet are going to have to be decided by Starfleet. That's going to have to go to San Francisco, and they're just going to have to make the decisions about that. However, the that that does not necessarily prevent people from coming and living within Federation space or even being Federation citizens. Um, if I understand the law correctly. Now, I am not obviously a legal advisor for the Federation. I'm a diplomat. I connect people to the legal advisors. But my my expectation would be that there would be a discussion about the history and the things that had to be done because of that history and the way that this whole situation was resolved, and there would be discussion about the process and the records related to the cloning, the generational cloning, and family trees that maybe like while you while you were born with outside of cloning, there would be the question of was anyone in your bloodline a clone, and did they have any enhancements? They might be asking questions about that, uh, and then and then they would determine the level of involvement that people returning from here can have in Starfleet. But it'll be there will be a different. I expect there will be a different conversation between on the matter of Starfleet activity and rank and Federation citizenship. Those would be two different. Those would have two different criteria.
He'll stop a second and think. Well, that's honestly better than I worried it could have been. At least gives me some hope. But just broad question. They're not going to like exterminate us.
The Federation is not in the habit of exterminating. No, the only times that I'm aware of when any legal action was taken at all was when legal or military action was taken at all. Legal action was only taken when someone lied about their history with cloning to get into Starfleet. There would be legal action there, and military action, as far as I know, has only happened when the people in question attacked the Federation.
Well, we definitely. Well, I mean, I'm telling you right now, so I guess this is the big reveal, surprise. So I I honestly don't know if anyone else. I don't know the president or anyone else in the council whether they intentionally haven't told you if you this is the first you're hearing of it or what. But it's definitely needs to be. It's too big of a secret to have a few million people with that in their backstory. That's going to come out eventually, especially when a whole bunch of them show up who look exactly the same.
Yeah, I I am I am
Give
willing to
different
give
haircuts.
I'm willing to give the council the benefit of the doubt and assume that it hasn't come up yet because talk about reintegrating into the Federation hasn't come up yet.
All right. Well, that assuages my fears a little bit. I appreciate it, sir. Uh, okay, so back to the real reason you're here. It's enough of my belly aching. Um, so with this Denzite in hand, our projections right now are. Let's see, what's the calendar say? So right now it is February 15th. We believe that we are at the absolute latest, potentially sooner, but absolute latest by the end of March, we should be ready for our next test because we've got to
Hmm.
replace. We have to go through the system with a fine tooth comb, figure out what Hannah screwed with. We've got to replace all this denzite, so it's a bit of a process, but it's better that we know now what she did, or at least try to figure out what she did. So trust me, we're going to be going over every single thing that she had her hands on for the last however long. I don't even know. Um,
We have had some engineers who have been working with your systems and in conversation about them. Would it be beneficial if we negotiate having some of them stay and help you?
who do you have in mind?
Well, sorry, out of character. This would be a really good way to explain where Calvo is doing all this.
Yes, although let's say he
And then
shows
we
up
just
next
and then
session.
we just had to get him back when he.
Because I don't know how long Chris is going to be out. But let's say he shows up next session. He's like, "Oh, by the way, we left your character on the other side of the
Yeah,
clock."
but
He's
like,
at he's gonna be at Red Wedding. That's where he is.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
chill him.
Well, all I'm saying is if we leave him here, then when he shows up again, that we have a shuttlecraft arrive and be like, oh hey, I did. It turns out they only need so much help from me. I'm back, and
Yeah.
that's it.
It's a classic Emperor's New Groove. It's like, how did they get here first? It's like, I don't know. It shouldn't be
Literally,
possible. But
no one can ask the question of how the shuttlecraft made it there that quickly. That question is not allowed. It is just plot. Because how often does that happen in Star Trek? Like
I'm willing to agree to those terms.
they make it back
Yeah,
to Earth in like a week. What?
Yeah, they do that type of stuff. There's like, oh yeah, so and so wasn't here, and then the next episode it's like, oh yeah,
not
I
as
just
much.
flew back in.
Yeah,
out
not
the
as
way.
much space wind turbulence when you take a shuttlecraft.
Something like that, sure. No, they hitched a ride with some space whales. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, you just no, Calvo just comes
Space
riding
horses.
on a freaking space
the
horse.
cavalry.
Calvo shows up in an EV suit, riding the back of a space horse. God, no. Okay.
Yeehaw!
That is a good idea, Tim. So okay, let's have Calvo.
So I will pitch asking our acting captain and Calvo if Calvo can be available for that, since he's our most trained person both in their system and in just kind of the more advanced stuff that we have.
So Dr. Engels will say, "Oh yeah, Lieutenant Commander Calvo. Yeah, I worked with him earlier. I think he would be quite helpful at this. So if you're willing to spare the man, I will not say no to the assistance."
We will be taking one of yours in exchange.
We already did, man.
We'll
we
be
left
taking another.
Yeah.
It's an exchange.
Yeah, I mean it has to. But rules of alchemy. One Calvo is worth at least all of their scientists.
I don't quite know.
When's the last time they teleported a bunch of warp cores? I don't remember.
Yeah, moving right along. So, all right. So Calvo will go over it. That leaves CJ as acting lead engineer. So that's the other Cation, or the other Cation. So yeah.
I didn't know Crystal had another twin. Does it make him triplets?
Might as well at this point. So, all right then. So with that, anything else that you want to take care of while you're at the wormhole state? Any other questions? Anything
Can I
else?
have their cloning technology, like a copy of all their blueprints?
Oh, he doesn't have that there. This is the wormhole station, not the cloning station.
I know, but maybe they have some extra cloning stations on the wormhole station in case one of their clones doesn't work.
That's no, that's not how that works.
I mean, hey, if I had infinite cloning capabilities, I would keep a few cloning bays on standby. They at least have the blueprints and schematics.
No, they do not, because that's a classified secret.
Classified from who? Like everyone. It's like
okay. Knowing that they're cloned is one thing. Knowing how to clone is a state secret.
Okay, that's fair. Can I ask it from them?
And he's gonna say, "I don't have that."
You're a science guy. Can't you get it? Like, you know someone who knows someone. You know a you who knows a you who knows a you.
I've got way more important things to do right now, and even then, I would need a very good reason to even ask that.
Because I want it.
That is not a good reason. Good day, sir. And he walks away. Okay. Anything
Can't believe
else?
I'm going to say this, but I miss Federation space. People are more scared of me.
Yeah, when you've seen the things that they have, you're nothing.
Oh, I don't know about
now you've dropped a challenge on him.
Yeah,
what are you thinking?
Where's the meat slugs? I gotta find that recipe.
If you read the thing I posted, you will understand the absolute.
I read a bit about Hope, who I really want to call Hope Summers, because they just kind of remind me of that Jean Grey Cyclops child. From the bad
so you made it through that far. Okay, so
I skimmed it, and that's one of the things I also the very first one.
Yeah, though, trust me, there's it gets dark.
Yeah, starving of like 63,000. Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, it's not the best.
Yeah.
But um
Yeah.
anyways,
Anyways,
I
back on
couldn't
the
think of
farm. Uh, all right.
couldn't think of a silver lining.
If nothing else, I believe right before this you had been requested by Teyvar to drop by to. The request was basically, well,
Pop in, have a
needing
drink.
some advisement on the situation between Shenzia slash Inazura and Sumera. You know
The
how
red
that
wedding.
whole they almost invaded.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole thing. So they want a neutral third party to come in and try to suss that one out. Okie doke.
All right.
All right. So let's see. Distance wise, I'll just measure it myself. The distance from the wormhole station to Teyvar is like 6.5 light years, which means I'm keeping track of dates now.
How much time do we have?
It's February 15th at this moment, and your deadline is in November, so you've got time, and you're meeting with the
Hmm.
Lestrans on March 10th, so you've got a little under a month until that, so you got plenty of time.
Do I have a
Plenty of
countermeasure
travel.
for the blues or the yellows yet? I don't think I do. I have one for humans and for reds.
No, you know absolutely nothing about the blues other than what you've seen from mangled corpses.
Okay. Well, there's that
Actually,
one
no, you've
guy.
not even seen corpses because
No,
that
there's
ship
that one guy.
escaped. Yeah, you have the one dude, the one live specimen. So that's
He
it.
does thumbs up a lot. I mean, yeah, I just imagine it because we haven't any context. He just like walks out. It's like we had that one guy. It's like thumbs up. That's it. And walks away.
I
Has
mean,
no proper language skills.
yeah, I mean it's been very, very difficult, but the
Okay, can I learn about a biological weakness in the yellows at least?
the yellows
Yeah,
learn
because we had
how.
plenty of corpses and other stuff, and like we also had a copy of one of them.
Uh,
So I was wondering if I could like look for some sort of weakness that I could exploit for a weapon of mass destruction.
um,
Sorry, mass pacifism.
mass pacifism. So,
WMP.
all right, let me look at something real quick. Hang
I'm just
on.
saying I'm totally expecting red wedding, so I want to see if I can shut it down.
You are paranoid. I like it.
I've been paranoid for the past couple months, and no one's like, yeah, maybe you're being it too bit too much. Maybe it's no one's doubted me, and the fact that no one's doubted me makes me doubt the fact that it won't happen.
I don't know what to say about this.
The closer we
Let's
get to
see.
the end date, the more paranoid. It's like the closer you get to a final exam without studying, and you're like, something's gonna happen. I know.
Okay. The Lestrans are very close. Well, of all the three, they are definitely the closest to human physiology. So, things that would work on humans, as best you can tell from studying corpses, should work to them, like asphyxiation, especially. Their blood appears to use oxygen. It's yellow blood, it's got a sulfur base, however that works, but it still uses oxygen.
Their blood has a sulfur base. You say?
Yes, that explains the yellow pigmentation.
Hmm.
And I just made
I
that up,
want-
but that works for me.
Now I need to figure out how I can use the sulfur in their blood to cause a chemical reaction which knocks them out.
I'll let you figure that one out.
Oof.
I'm just saying, if things go poorly, it's not bad to have a contingency, right? Unless it gets vetoed, in which case I don't mind not bringing 3 dangerous pieces of equipment.
Okay, so let me give you a few hints here if you are able to do the rolls. Let me pull up your sheet. Okay. Give me a chemistry roll.
Is it like a 10?
That no, yeah, you had a 10, so average of 10 and 80, 90, so that means you got a 45% chance.
I'll take a degree. Let's see. I need to type it in. You're not a real doctor if you haven't invented some form of chemical warfare. Ah, unsuccessfully at this point.
Yeah. Okay, so you don't. So off the top of your head, now if IRL you research anything on sulfur and give it to me and it works, great. But off the top of your head, you are not able to recall any or find any relevant reactions of sulfur.
Okay.
Let's see. So chemistry didn't work. What else might you be able to do? Not sure there's anything else in your sheet unless you can see something that I'm overlooking. I don't think there's anything else that could really work.
What are you trying to do? Find weakness?
Find, yeah, some weakness. At least that involves, excuse me, if that involves sulfur. That would have been chemistry.
Hmm. Biochemistry?
He actually doesn't have that.
Oh dang. Um,
What is
what about
this? So
life support systems?
Interesting.
I did find
I
something
don't know
that
if he has that.
causes explosions.
And what's that?
Apparently, oxidizing agents such as perlocrat peroxide, peramanganates, chlorates, nitrates, chlorine, bromine, and fluorine can cause explosive reactions with sulfur.
Okay, so
So,
you do know that. You researched it and found out. Congratulations.
okay, so I can cause them to explode. I feel like that's not. I feel like that's only gonna propagate the red wedding scenario. But I
Be a very
guess
yellow wedding. Be a very. They bleed yellow, man.
can I I guess can I like can I make a sort of like aerosol variant that like just causes like it's such a minor concentration of it that it causes like instead of like causing an explosion, it just causes like horrible irritation of like the skin and eyes, maybe causing coughing, like basically tear gas, but specifically genetically designed to work off the sulfur in their biology. So it
Okay,
doesn't cause an explosion.
so that's gonna be an even more complicated role. Let's go with, just to throw you a bone, biotechnology, chemistry, and intelligence.
Okay, so that's
99,
another
80,
number.
and 10.
Hmm.
80 plus 10 divided by 3. That was not. Okay, that wasn't division. I don't think 187 is the number
No!
I'm looking for. Yeah, no, it did. I hit divide and then I think it didn't go through with the plus yet. So that plus 10 equals that divided by 3. 63. 13.
Okay, so you're able to synthesize a compound that. Let me think how to BS this one. So basically, what it does is it lowers their blood pressure to the point where they go unconscious.
Yay.
So it's the reaction. So instead of sulfur, like usually sulfurs would like explode, somehow you inverted the polarity and it actually makes it like thinner. Go figure.
I found another way to
Star Trek.
incapacitate a non-violent species.
Yes, you did.
Am I the bad guy? No.
If you had rolled a 100, it
Are
would.
we the baddies?
If
They're
you
the bad guys.
if
It's them.
if you'd rolled a 100, it would have actually caused them to explode. And I wish you had.
I mean, if you had me do it last session, there was a 1 in 3 chance.
You know, he seemed like it. Yes. Let's see. All
Okay,
right.
I'm ready with the okay. I think I know how I can befriend the blues, and I don't need to make a roll for it because I know that it's gonna totally work 100%, no issue at all.
You're gonna befriend the blues?
I know how to resolve the conflict. If conflict arises and it becomes a life or death situation, I already have the solution. I'm not
Okay.
gonna say it, but I know what I'm gonna do.
Okay. That's great. That's great. Okay, so it takes 2 days to get to Teyvar, so now it is February 17th. If anything else happening on the way, any other fun
Nothing I can think
science
of.
experiments you want to do? No?
I mean, nothing that I feel like it can get away with.
That is what every GM loves to hear.
At least I'm being considerate. I'm not trying it yet.
Thanks. Okay. All right. Now we get to the whole long thing I wrote up. Woo. Man, I was at work writing this today because I'm a bad employee. All right. So you enter orbit around Teyvar, and you're able to scan and realize that, yes, indeed, the decaying orbit has slowed. So that's nice.
Love to
And
hear it.
hmm?
Love to hear it.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes, you do.
Also, just for context, I'm gonna hand everyone a copy of the earbuds that allow you to be immune to the effects of the sonic pen, which probably makes people vomit if you're human and pass out.
Okay. Um,
I'm also gonna order some boom boxes for totally unrelated reasons.
sure. Okay. So, you're all gonna go down to the room that they all been meeting in all the time. So it's going to be who goes down is they request that Fish comes down actually and brings some medical staff with him. Um, so Fish,
Okay.
obviously Sorab, Crystal, and a few others who don't really
Intern 1 through 10.
in NPC 1 through 10, sure, something like that. So, all right, so you're going to go down, and they were all there waiting for you. You're going to see it's very obviously on one side of the room is Peraro from Shenzia again, and Balai from Inazura. The other end of the room is Kusanara from Sumera, and in the middle is Reolaris and Bartaros from Mondstack or from Liwa and Mondstack. So, and you can cut the tension with a knife, as you might be able to expect.
I didn't bring a knife. I have a scalpel.
All right, so you're there. Rail Lars is going to say, "Ah, crew of the Lexington, so nice that you're able to join us in this most joyous of hours." And Bartros going to say, "Here, here," and take a swig of something. Um, Rail Lars continue. As you can see from the room, and I'm sure you can guess, the fallout from the escapade with the great tree a few weeks ago has not fully abated, even with the successful return you brought of the denzite and not needing to take the material from the tree. So that was all handled, but things are still a little tense.
Mhm.
So Kusanara is going to speak up, actually start shouting and saying, "These two almost caused an all out riot in my country. And even right now, there are protests happening calling for the heads of whoever because of this whole fiasco.
Over what?
The
That's not.
fiasco of them almost invading and threatening the tree, the center of the entire religion. Yeah, that got out. So my country's up in arms. Um, So
Sounds like a problem you can deal with after you don't burn to death.
you would think that, but religion is a hell of a thing.
Hmm. Interesting to refer to hell, which is often known to have a lot of fire. Probably be like that soon, unless we get everything fixed.
Well, I mean, yes, but that's okay. That's not the point. Actually, doctor, uh, before we get to this whole cluster, I have a request of you. So as you may have heard, we've got a refugee crisis going on where people
Hmm.
from basically everywhere have been going to camps that have been set up in Shenzia. Um, from what I understand, the Sumerian refugees are being mistreated, and I would like you to go and help with aid efforts and assess the situation if you are so able.
Fine.
Now, from the other side of
And
the
I'm going to
room,
complain the whole time.
I mean, I could. I don't want to, but I could do it. Doesn't seem like I have much of a choice in this matter. I know the captain would be very upset with me again.
from the other side of the room, though, you're going to hear, hold on one moment. We need to discuss this. It's Priraro, of course, the representative from Shenzia. He's going to say, we are not going to allow just anyone into Shenzia for any old reason. There has to be
Well,
some
it's a good thing I'm
steps
not
for
just
this.
anyone, so let me through.
Yes. If this is going to happen, it has to go through proper channels, proper authority. Now, I can, speaking for the Archon, the Caesira in this, I can approve you going. However, you are going to require supervision just so we know everything that's happening.
Ain't that always the way?
Fish just slowly turns to Sorab with a deadpan look of like, do I really have to go? It's like, I could just not go. I could just stay. Like that's the look he's giving you. It's like,
I'm not your boss.
uh,
He's going to say,
fine.
now he's going to say, well, now to help ease the situation for you, I've come to hear that you apparently have become well acquainted with our own Dr. Detrone. I would be more than willing to allow him to be your escort for this excursion.
Okay. He's definitely a step above an unpaid intern, so I can definitely consider him more valuable than them.
He's a step or two at least, but don't tell him that. He might get to his head. But all right, very well. Right. You
Okay,
can take the shuttle outside. Might as well be off with you. These people aren't
time to
going to
cut
help
open some
themselves.
bodies.
Indeed. All right, Doctor. Happy cutting, I suppose.
Sometimes cottering.
Okay, so
He's
exit
gonna walk off.
fish, exit stage left.
Now I can't be here to ruin the politics. Good
Hey,
call, Tripper. Good call.
I'm also giving you something to do that's actually up your alley for once.
I
Uh,
know. It's.
uh, instead of mad sciencing, you're actually doctoring? What?
I know. It's just weird. It's like I'm actually like
Oh, right,
choosing
that's what all
like
those stats were for.
I haven't used transplant surgeon since I think we first got to this place with because like I keep forgetting his name, but literally the
Detrone
guy
with
the
his
Trone
longest.
because I
Yeah.
that was the last transplant I did and I failed it twice. That was the last transplant roll I made.
Yes, but this time he got better. So okay, all right. So now back
I got
to the matter
that.
at hand. Prorara will go. All right. So back to the current situation. The stance of the Caesira is that the situation is resolved. It was an unfortunate incident, however, the overall result was that it got us the technology we needed to stabilize the orbit of the planet. So overall, it was a positive. So, as far as we're concerned, the situation is closed and this has become an internal matter for Sumera.
Okay.
Kusanara is going to go. You know, you're talking awful sectarian when we're a group that's attempting to join the Federation that's all about cooperation on a planet-wide scale. So, do you think about that in front of our Federation friends here? You'll see Peraro's jaw clench at that one. He'll say, would our Federation friends like to give their input on that?
Um, so out of character, generally that is the practice, right? Like we don't normally, the Federation doesn't normally work with a partial world government.
Yes, Federation by policy only accepts countries or planets that have a unified system of government. There can be individual countries, like on Earth, there technically is, but it's under one unified government, which is what the five archons are supposed to be.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So I will. So that's going to be kind of the way that I'm going to explain it to them. It's like, look, the Federation obviously, the Federation only makes agreements with a global government. Now, that does not mean that the planet cannot have individual governments and that those individual governments cannot pursue their own interests, but there must be some degree to which there is a body that we can speak to that has the whole planet's interests in mind and has the authority to enact agreements on those terms, on those grounds. There is obviously some amount of this situation obviously creates some amount of tension and creates a great number of concerns within this body in terms of determining how to best move forward as a global body. And so I do think that it is appropriate that those are resolved now. And the only way they're going to get resolved now is if they are vocalized now. If they are not resolved by the time we get back to Federation space, it will delay any sort of partnership between Teyvar and the Federation. Um, so, while yes, there is some concern about any sectarian language that appears to be breaking the unity of the planetary body here. If there are issues that need to be resolved between the countries in order for you to present a united front to the Federation, definitely bring them up and resolve them now.
All right. Kusanara is going to say, well, I think that I have made my nation's grievances very plain, that we were nearly invaded needlessly. Not only that, the sanctity and protection of the most sacred site of the entire nation was threatened. And as I'm sure you can guess, the population is massively incensed. And I don't think, I think at bare minimum, a formal apology from both nations to even begin the process of trying to put out this metaphorical fire. And at that point, we can start discussing anything else. But that is the bare level that we are going to require before this can go anywhere.
All right. So what are? So I'm gonna.
Roll for apology.
Well, uh, I'm gonna turn to Shinzia and the other one,
That's
and
Ferraro and Balai for Shinzia and
yeah,
Inazura. Yep.
Farr and Belai. I'm gonna turn to them and say, okay. Um, do you have any further concerns that would prevent patching this issue and moving forward together?
So you're asking, Ferraro is going to speak. So you're asking specifically about what is it you're requesting for us to apologize? Is that it?
Uh, okay. Did they ask for an apology, or did they just?
That's Kusanara
I'm
said
trying to
at
remember.
bare minimum an apology from an official, like formal written apology, like not just an
No.
I'm sorry, but like an actual overture type apology.
That roll for apology is starting to seem more and more realistic now.
Well, uh, okay. I'm gonna tell them what you do and don't need to say between yourselves is something that you're gonna have to sort out between yourselves. What I'm asking is what issues stand in the way of discussing that and coming to some sort of agreement.
Belive on her for Anasura will say, as my Shinzian counterpart has mentioned earlier, as far as I and Inazura are concerned, the situation is resolved. I am dealing with my own issues. News of the entire situation reached my populace, and they are unhappy. They believe that the honor of the entire nation was harmed by this abortive expedition. So, for my end, issuing a national apology would be another slap in the face to my people, which I don't believe they are willing to tolerate right now, especially when the coastline is shrinking by the day. I'm facing overpopulation of the cities, and overall, I believe the nation is barely holding together as it is. An apology may seem simple, Commander, but for my people, it is not. Ferraro will go, well, for Shinzia, it's not such a matter of honor so much as a matter of what's the point. Like I've already said, there's nothing to apologize for. It was a net gain, so this this situation is pointless.
One from the country with the tree.
What was that, Tim?
What's the third person? The one from the country with the tree?
Kusanara.
Kusanara. All right, so I'm going to turn to Kusanara. And I'm going to say, okay, what exactly are you asking for an apology for?
I believe the best way to phrase it would be for threatening the sanctity of the great tree in a manner that was unjust and unprovoked. That is the basis of my people's complaint. Again, it's a bit of a religious matter.
Now, as I understand it, the offense in this regard was discussing the possibility of using the tree and not because there were no actual troop movements, correct?
Oh, they were very much preparing to invade. It was public knowledge that there's only so many troops that can move before it gets out. So yes, both Shenzia, especially Shenzia, but also Inazura were mobilizing their forces.
I hope that you understand that from an outsider perspective, which is what the Federation is going to be, um, if this is not resolved when we return. What we're seeing is that um, one nation is calling for an apology over what is essentially saber rattling. There was no troops set foot in your country. There was not an active move against the tree. There was discussion of that when it was believed to be a last resort. That was dropped immediately when it became clear that there was not a last resort. And two nations that are having difficulty making the barest level of concession to another nation on their planet for what to them felt at the time like an act of necessity. Now, I cannot tell you the best way to resolve this, but as long as that is the image that we are being presented with, it will hinder any attempt at relationship with the Federation.
So there's going to be a hard tension in the room. Everyone's kind of eyeing each other until Rail Lar speaks up. So, Lieutenant Commander, if you had to offer your suggestion on a course of action, what would that be? Who, obviously, we're dealing with the proverbial immovable object and unstoppable force, and something has to give. What do you believe is the appropriate step?
I think that the difficulty that's arising here is that the two sides of the matter think that they have to give up something and the other doesn't in order to find a solution. And I don't think that that's the case. I think it is possible that with some careful coordination, if the three of you or representatives from the three nations could sit down and work out a phrasing that could work out a phrasing in which I'll say the name of the country with the tree. I can never remember
Sumera.
the names of these countries. Sumera. In which, if in that discussion, Sumera can recognize that um, their religious views are causing them to see this offense as larger than everyone else involved understands it to be. And the other two nations both of them can move just that little bit closer together, then they can then they can sit down and work out a phrasing for a statement that Sumera will accept as an apology, and the peoples of the other nations will recognize as not accepting responsibility for something they did not do.
All right. That sounds like a diplomacy roll.
Okay.
Let's see. Let me make sure I know exactly what roll it's going to be. I think this is just going to be a straight up roll. So this is going to be charisma and negotiation
Rolling it
diplomacy.
rolling it's a 77 because I leveled up my negotiation after last section.
Aha.
All right.
We've done it. We've
All right.
solved world violence. It's world peace.
We did it, Patrick. We saved a city. All right. So there's going to be a further stare down between Kusanara and the other two nations. For Kusanara, we'll say, well, someone has to speak first. I do. Yes, that is a. There may, in fact, be some phrasing that makes all sides happy in this. That would preserve the honor of Inazura and save face for Shenzia for all parties involved. I'm willing to sit down and have a discussion over this to see if there is a potential common ground to find. How about Shenzia and Inazura? Ferraro is sitting there, sit with his hands resting on his chin. He will go, in the sake of, for the sake of cooperation, I agree to pursuing this matter. But I will say, I also consent.
Excellent.
I don't feel like there's any more common ground than preventing your entire planet from becoming the last emperor at a barbecue. But I guess if they need something else to work off of, that makes sense for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
They do them.
You know, they were feeling pretty hot headed, and
Well,
Yeah.
so
tempers
then
were flaring.
Bartros is going to stand up and raise his glasses. This sounds like something to drink to.
Yeah. Somebody's having a good time.
All right. I just lost Tim from Streamlabs. Nope, no, he's back. It's weird.
Nice.
I didn't lose you from the group call, but I lost you from Streamlabs. Weird.
Huh.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
Weird things happen.
Yeah, you
Weird
were lagging
things
earlier too, so I don't know what's up. But anyhow, all right. So y'all are gonna get sloshed. Let's go down. Let's go to Shenzia, to the fish side of things.
So do you want just one of your legs replaced with a biotic one because it's destroyed, or do you want to just make it nice and even and do bolts and symmetry?
The person is going to go, I don't care, just make the pain stop.
Okay, well, after I'm done wrapping your arm, we can get back to the leg thing.
Oh, so Detrone is standing there. He's gonna go. Oh, if I had, if my ethics were a little bit stronger, I would object to this. But as it stands, I find this quite fascinating.
Hmm. It's crazy to think that he actually just broke his leg at a protest.
Well,
Not a lot of war happened yet, but a lot of rioting.
okay, sure. I guess there can be protests in the camps. So yeah. So all right. So let me explain the situation that you're seeing. So there are some very hastily assembled camps that have been set up all across Shinzia, actually primarily in what sort of used to be, mostly is frozen tundra. That's changing a bit at a time. But it is very cold there. But there are basically people being just stuffed into these encampments. These camps only been around for a few months, but you can tell the conditions are deteriorating. It's They're not quite to being a ghetto, but it's getting close.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I'm here to repair people's limbs and undo the damage that they've probably caused more likely to themselves, but eh,
Well, what you're seeing a lot of the injuries of is so you're hearing various stories if you actually care to listen, but I'm sure you don't. But you're hearing stories of so you're in a Sumerian camp right now.
okay.
The camps have been set up for different nations. In the Sumerian camp, there's actually far fewer of them than there are of most of them are from Inazura because Inazura has lost like thousands of square kilometers by now, as far as like flooding. It's there's a lot of displaced people, but there's an increasing number of Sumerian refugee camps, mostly people from the coastal areas or from. Now, one thing you found out is so Sumeria is like half rainforest, half desert primarily. The desert is expanding. Um, Sandstorms are basically eroding away the areas at the edges of the desert, and so that's where a lot of these people are from too.
Well, the desert's going to become beachfront property eventually. So.
Eventually, yeah. Um, so what's happening to these people is a lot of them are facing very difficult journeys to get here. The most difficult part is once they reach Shenzia. Now, it wasn't this case, but after what just happened with the whole Shenzians almost invading Inazura, the Shenzians are basically mocking the Inazura or the Sumerans that are coming in. There's been a lot of harassment, some isolated instances of violence. So some of the injuries that you are healing are from um, people being assaulted. Um, so as far as protests go, that's not really been a thing actually.
Mm.
They've been too afraid to. There are camp guards for that's the best way to put it, and they're supposedly there for the protection of the people, but you get the impression that it's more the other way around.
Ah, yes. So I guess I'll just talk to this guy. So, what's your story, chum?
Hmm. Well, I'm originally from a small town right at the edge of the desert, and it just became unlivable. The sandstorms were just so overwhelming. I Before we left, we hadn't seen the sun for 5 days.
Hmm.
The crops died, livestock died. We barely were. We If it weren't for a compass, we would have known which way was up. We made our way inland into the forest, then just made our way north because we didn't know. We were told that this would be the place to be if things got bad enough. I mean, might as well, if the planet's heating up, go to some place that's already cold, right? Might be temperate
Hmm.
before too long. But the journey itself was bad enough with what little food we had. We were able to get enough, but they reached Shinzia. I don't know about these people. I mean, if I've ever seen a people that matched their territory, they're cold. They're very, very cold.
I see. You do realize I was talking about how you got your injury, not your entire life story, right?
I was getting to that. Um,
Eventually, of course.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I thought bedside manner's a thing, but I'll hurry to the end.
I'm impressed that you're doing this, even though it just prolongs the time it takes me to get you your painkillers. I mean, okay.
Oh, you're not doing that right now. Ugh, fine. Okay. So, long story short, my family, we were accosted by a group of, I guess, thugs, for lack of a better term. Um, they forced us to give them our food. I tried resisting, and that's when they broke my leg, and to be basically carried the rest of the way here. So yeah, that's the long and short of it.
So what'd you use to fight back?
Um, my hands.
Ah, you see, that's a mistake. You should have carried some sort of sharp implement. Like if you, for example, even if you broke your leg, if you threw a rock at their shins, smashed their kneecaps, that would have worked very well.
Well, next time I'm a refugee, I'll keep that in mind. Now, where are those
Or
painkillers?
pretend to be have rabies or some sort of mental illness that usually freaks them out a lot.
Also noted. Where's the damn meds?
Okay, I just like okay, just stab him in the leg with it.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Hmm.
I'm
I
just
pull
gonna.
out the hacksaw. It's like, so do you want the leg removed and replaced, or just you want to keep it?
I think I'll keep it. I think I'll keep it. I'm kind of partial to that leg. It's the I've had it for almost my entire life. So just set it and I'll forget it and just I'll just kind of
Fine.
drift off to sleepy time.
Okay, I'm gonna set his leg. It's like, is he asleep?
Yeah, he's asleep. So
Okay.
we have to do a
I,
first
I'm
aid
gonna.
roll.
Okay, oh, okay, yeah.
When was the last time you did a first aid roll?
What's that? I think never. I don't think yeah. Back when we had a second doctor who was actually good at it.
All right, so this is going to be a three-way roll here. Actually, we're going to do it's going to be intelligence, dexterity, and first aid. Because intelligence to know what to do, dexterity to do it properly, and first aid for just the skill in the first place.
Okay. Intelligence 80 plus dexterity, which is 53, and then plus first aid 41. By 3. 58% chance. This is good enough. It looks like we'll
Okay.
have to amputate. Oh no! It's like he's unconscious. Leg goes like, oh, guess I'll have to replace it. Pulls out hacksaw. Can I make a biomechanical engineering drill to replace his limb?
Biomechanical or bio? Is that biomechanical?
It is
Biotechnology.
biotechnology, which is yeah, biotechnology roll to replace his leg with one of the with a replica.
So there's going to be a nurse there. Is going to go. He didn't ask you to remove his leg.
Well, now look at it. It's obvious.
Yeah, he specifically asked you not to.
Well, he asked me not to when it was in a better state. But look at it now. It's basically a lost cause.
She's gonna say no. Um,
Are you the doctor here?
I am a doctor.
Are you the? Is this your patient? Hmm?
It's our patient.
How do you feel about organ transplants?
She's gonna say,
As I kind of point the hacksaw at her with a nice, non-threatening smile.
"Okay, I feel like there is a role here. Um, how about charisma and streetwise?"
Okay. Why would I use charisma and streetwise? All I'm doing is asking her a very neutral question.
Sure.
You know the craziest part? I actually have 55 charisma, which is supposed to be above average.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's better. It's actually 43. It's not as awful as I thought. Oh,
She's going to go. Whatever you say, doctor. It's your patient.
Get you unpaid intern 5 through 7. Get me the other leg. I have some cutting to do.
Wait, other leg.
I got. Well, I mean, the. I assume I'm not building a prosthetic here. I'm kind of pulling from my supply.
Right. Oh, yes.
Like, probably gonna do some adjustments, but
Okay. All right. So that happened.
so do I need to make a roll, or can I just straight bio?
You can.
technology?
This is going to be a it's also going to be
Transplant surgery?
biotechnology, intelligence. Well, actually, hold on. Biotechnology. Yeah, you do have transplant surgeon, don't you? Dare I make the rare four-way roll?
4-way roll.
I could make it really interesting.
Oof.
Let's see. Oh wait, that's the wrong sheet. Huh. No wonder I didn't see it. Transplant. Okay, so there. All right, I'm gonna really screw with you.
Okay.
You're gonna do biotechnology.
Might as well, I guess.
Yeah, biotechnology, transplant surgeon, intelligence, and dexterity.
Oof.
And plus dexterity, which is 53. Yes,
Only a 53? No, that can't be right.
for dexterity.
Oh, your dexterity is 53. Sorry.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is my lowest. Everything. Okay, divided by 4. 75.
Yeah.
Yeah, my stats are kind of loaded when it comes to everything
Yep.
else.
I thought it'd make it interesting.
Yeah, I gotta go back to this page. Oh, I passed.
Ooh, he just passed. So, all right, dude, bro is the owner of a shiny new leg.
Well, it looks like a normal leg, so he won't realize it's been replaced until in a while. Depending on how accurate he is
Oh
to
my
human
goodness.
biology.
They don't have 5 toes.
This is gonna be
Well, he's gonna have. I can just modify one of them. You know, they're
They
modular.
they have 7.
Okay, well, this has 5 toes.
the malpractice lawsuit that's
They
coming.
can't get me on an entirely different galaxy now, can they?
They're coming back when you
At
come
that
back.
point, I'll be long gone.
Oh man.
Basically a galaxy away at that point.
Maybe. Okay. So, that happened.
Oh no, he's missing some toes. Okay, next. Well, we
right.
don't. And it's like, interns, move him to the floor. We don't have enough beds.
All right. So that's gonna continue.
Take him out on a gurney. Place him outside unconscious.
So that's gonna continue for about another 2 hours until you get through pretty much the whole backlog of serious injuries.
I've never seen this before. I'm running out of extra legs.
Right. Luckily, most of them you're able to just fix. You don't actually have to replace most of the limbs.
I'm running out of extra legs. Okay, maybe not. It's like, just one of the interns like, you have plenty. It's like, but it's like that's what I wish I could say in turn.
Okay.
I always have too many extra legs. Okay, so what's the next horrendous affront to nature that's confronted me today?
Well, what's all right? So now that's over. The actual head doctor of the camp, the one that you're at, is actually no, he's the doctor over like all the Sumerian camps, like the administrator for all of them. He's going to say, "Well, thank you for your help, doctor. It's good to have a skilled pair of hands to help lighten the load."
Anytime. Now, where should I put this severed leg?
The biohazard incinerator off that way.
Sounds too far. I'll just chuck it in this bucket.
pretend I didn't see that. So the legs are not the reason I came to see you. So I wanted to the other reason you
I
came
do have
here.
some questions about it
Yeah, a few questions. The reason that I wanted to
though.
so um I was hoping to use your breadth of knowledge from being in the Federation to see if you can help us reorganize and better administrate our medical process here for
Of
handling
course.
malnutrition, especially. We're having a lot of that. Obviously, injuries. It's just our resources are stretched thin, of course. So, whatever advice you might be able to give for what we can do to help things.
Well, I have a problem for your malnutrition. You see, uh, the reason that you end up having to process and waste so much energy from food is because you have a bunch of flesh in the way. Now, if you replace that with cybernetics, you would drastically reduce the amount of nutrition needed to maintain your body.
The color is going to slowly drain from his face as you're talking about that. Um, he's
I
going to say,
recommend starting with the lungs, the stomach, and then the four limbs. That way, you can get quite a massive amount of nutrition, roughly cutting it in half, if not more.
well, all right, that's something that we may be able to look into.
Could also just make nutrition pouches, which I mean, it's not my favorite thing, but those work too, I guess.
Yes, that would absolutely be a something easier to implement in the meantime. The problem though
We'd
is
love to know more about that.
the problem is less about having well the main problem is we don't have a whole lot to go around nutrition wise. So I'm honestly interested in administrative like ways to streamline the process
Okay.
as far as trying to help stretch what resources we have.
Yes, as a person with an incredibly large intellect, I obviously have a great solution to this problem because I am a genius and not a normal
let
average
me just
person with normal average levels of intellect and space.
let me just slip
Let me
over
just
here and
now
check
let me just
my
step over to
notes.
my MacGuffin box and pull out the solution to this problem.
Well, what you're going to do first is you're going to do a intelligence and administration roll to see the quality of whatever you're able to pull out of your MacGuffin box. So that's just going to be a 60.
I mean, if it doesn't have something to do with in producing like some sort of abomination of nature that they can like basically survive off of
Oh God.
as like a byproduct situation, I don't know. Have you heard of cis pigs from cis pigs from what was it? I can't remember the name. Outer Worlds.
Oh,
If so, something along that
I
line of
played that.
logic.
Yep. Ugh. All right, so I need a
Uh,
roll from you for administration. So
right.
it's a
I was
60.
okay. What is administration again?
Yours is 40 and your intelligence is 80, so this is going to be a 60.
That's a roll. Okay. Uh,
It is a roll. It is one of the rolls of all time.
hmm.
Yeah.
That is a number that is higher than
That
the.
is an 84.
I walk.
Okay,
I think I know what I can say.
go for it. I am all ears.
Okay, so I walk out. So I just like I said, it's a very simple nutrition pouch. You see what it does is after you make a small incision in the chest and you install it, it'll help. It'll help reduce the amount of nutrition that is consumed by the individual person. I have a couple dozen of them on me right now. I could give you the blueprint on how to produce more. It's a very simple procedure. After you cut open a hole in the stomach lining and make the uh, basically installation process, all you need is a couple of skilled surgeons. It should be pretty in and out. You just gotta set up a line of people, and we get to work. How's that sound?
So the color is still out of his face. He's gonna look at it and say, well, this is certainly an idea. Um, I can run this
Here
by.
is one of the most ideas of all time.
Yes, I can run this idea by my superiors. I definitely something on this level I would not be able to approve overall, but sure, it has potential. We'll see then what they say.
Yes, I would recommend it. It's borderline mandatory in the Federation to have a nutrition pouch installed in your body. So I'd recommend getting it spread out as quickly as possible to the public.
That's that should be a deception check.
Uh, yeah, I was just thinking that. What that one is
That doesn't add up.
that's also a
That doesn't sound like the Federation I was told about at all.
that's
Well,
a
I mean, you don't talk about what your favorite food is, and everyone has a nutrition pouch. It's basically like a toilet, you know? You don't just like,
just
oh yeah.
for for gits and shiggles. I'll have you do charisma and strength.
Okay, this is not the best roll I got.
Well, you did it earlier.
It was better odds than I think this at least.
No, that
Which
was
is
the same roll with the threatening the
really
lady with the
three.
saw.
Oh yeah, no yeah, I got a
You
4
got
for
a
some reason.
4.
No, you see, it's not gonna work because I'm not threatening the person. You see, endangering someone's life is what gives me the. I typed that in wrong. I think 55 plus
31.
31 divided by 2. 40. Why am I getting 43? Yeah, I guess it is higher than I thought.
41.
I could have sworn it was lower, and that's why I was surprised by the number.
No.
Nope, that's how math works.
It is how math works. 60.
But
Okay.
what if it did work?
That would have. I don't know with it. He's gonna go. Sure.
Why not? We want to run with the cool
I see
kids.
how it is. I see how much of a Neanderthal you can be sometimes, but that's okay. Good thing they don't know what Neanderthal means.
True. You're right. I'm just going to assume that a Neanderthal is a compliment and go from there. So I will take this information to my superiors. Doctor, I do appreciate your input on this. It was very enlightening. So yes, thank you again for all your help. But I believe that is all that we need you to do for today.
Okay, just go ahead and tell me if you
Easy.
need any more body parts replaced.
I will keep that under advisement for the future.
Have you been having any heart? I kind of lean in close. Have you been having any heart palpitations recently? Shortness of
Um,
breath. I can
only
help
during
fix
this
that.
only during this conversation.
Hmm. Interesting. Well, get back to me if you need any checkups.
Understood.
My office is always open.
I'll say. Very well, and he will very quickly turn and walk away, muttering something about this is the Federation we are going to join.
When the medical staff is the most scary.
um. All right.
I feel like I'm not playing fish soon if I'm not threatening someone that's
Oh,
completely
you are
innocent at this point.
fully fish, and I love it. So you are all fished up. So all right. So at that point, then it is time to, I believe, take the shuttle then back to the back to where everyone else should be getting thoroughly sloshed or have been thoroughly sloshed by now. I mean, it's been like what? That was like 8 hours ago when you left. So
Hmm.
because it takes like 3 hours to get there by shuttle. So
How's Sorab doing?
uh, you're not back yet. Before you leave, you'll notice that you can't find a trone.
I pull that's strange. I pull out my little comms to see if I have any updates to his lung tracker.
He is presently at a guess looks like some kind of administrative building on about a half a kilometer away.
Guess I head that way.
And on your way there, you'll actually see him stepping out and walking towards you.
Hey, what was in there?
Said, "Oh, I just had a meeting. Are you all finished up over at the camp?"
No, I was told to go into that building behind you.
Um, Very well then. Follow me.
Okay.
So you'll go into the building, and it's just an administrative building. I mean, you see like office workers, people running around, a lot of paperwork happening. Um,
Mhm.
Nothing really of note.
Can I make an investigation check?
Sure. What kind of roll would that be?
What would that be? I know that's like from other games, but it's like what is that roll? We've never tried to perceive things before. It's usually just been like this is stuff.
You
But my
know what?
paranoia is coming
You
out,
know what we
so
have done? Um, you're gonna hate me. Streetwise,
streets. Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
streetwise, and intelligence.
Honestly, Streetwise was unexpectedly a really good investment for my part.
Apparently,
Yeah. Working out
Apparently,
for you.
it's just what people use to just do stuff. I cannot remember the last time anyone's ever made a what was it, carousing roll.
well, you have
That's
nothing in
true.
it, and this game
That is
hasn't been a whole. Maybe we did in the
Uh,
storyline.
I I did some carousing rolls with the on that planet. Yeah.
Yeah, the last storyline, the one on Parthia, Parthia 3. Yep, because we were at
Yeah.
bars dealing
ah
with
yes.
pirates. R. So
Yep.
okay,
And doing a damn good
Oh
job of it.
indeed.
you did a good job of that one. Okay, so this
52,
roll is going to be 80.
56.
Yes, that sounds right.
It's 55.5, but I rounded up, so
That's fine. Okay.
okay, it's 12.
Out one of the windows, you're going to see. So you'll remember back when we first came to Teyvar and you met with the Shenzians. One of the other heralds.
Mm-hmm.
This one, let's see, her name is Sigora. So one of the female ones, like the very acerbic. That's the right word. Like the one that's very rude, but kind of in a snarky way. So
Okay.
her,
She
because
just
she's
went out a
leaving.
window. Oh, leaving.
Yeah, she's already outside, like leaving. So you see
Okay.
out a window.
Hmm. Into a quick time event, 4 choices pop up. Scream loudly. Turn to turn to the person to ask what that was about. Step 3, pull out gun, shoot her. Step 4, MacGuffin. Gosh, 5, stand there until timer runs out. Uh, wait, let me quickly look into my bag of stuff.
There's two
That's
Twinkies.
accurate. There is a Twinkie. I so badly want to like try and trip her with the Twinkie right now.
No, she's like a good distance away. You'd have to run to catch up with her at this point. She's already a good, like, probably a
Mm,
good 300 yards away.
uh, I guess I'll just turn
Are
to
you are you committed enough to run?
runnings for other people.
I've never been committed enough
Okay,
to run.
I guess Sung is going to turn and look at name, and he's
Detrone.
going to Detrone.
Detrone.
I always struggle with the names. Okay, Detrone. He's gonna. I was like, so, would you mind explaining why you were talking with the person whose name I totally remember?
He's gonna go, well, good doctor. I mean, her and I are both heralds, so we have things to discuss. It's internal affairs business with Shinzia, so I assure you it's nothing you'd have any interest in. It's
Trust me, I know Shifty when I see it, and that's Shifty.
well, my dear doctor, I can't help with your paranoia.
You know, I thought that you were at least becoming useful to me, but I see that you're becoming more of a hindrance than a help.
Oh, I'm most upset to hear you say that, my good doctor.
Oh man.
Do you wish to come clean, or do you wish to have me figure it out on myself? Because trust me when I say, I have my ways. The last thing I like amongst all things is betrayal.
He's going to say, my dear doctor, there are certain secrets that, for the sake of state security, I can't just tell you on a whim.
I'll just have you know, though I would never admit it to their faces, I have grown quite fond of my crew, and if I were come to know that you have caused any harm to them, well, let's just say there are fates far worse than death, and there's fates far worse than coming back from death over and over and over again. So I'll give you one last chance, or we can leave it as is. You can tell me, or you can keep it a secret and have a surprise in store if I do come across anything.
Guess what I'm going to have you roll?
It's charisma and streetwise. Wow, I'm finding a very frequent. Okay. What was the roll? Like 40,
42.
42, 3? I think it was. I don't think.
42.
Really?
It was 42.
I think it was 40. I think it was 43 because I never remember 42. But I'll just put the calc in. It's
55 plus 31, which comes to 86. No, you're right. It is 43.
Okay. Okay, because I was like, am I crazy? Because I was like, I thought it was that. Like, nah, no, it didn't work.
He's just going to smirk and say, "Oh, my good friend. If you won't accept my assurances, there's nothing to worry about. I'm not sure what else to tell you. But all friendships have to be based on at least some degree of trust, no?
Well, that's unfortunate then, because I don't trust anyone.
Yeah.
Nor did I ever consider you a friend.
Oh, I'm worried.
It's cruel, but it's technically true. It is, but it's
mean.
technically true.
That's so mean.
He's never okay. Never once did I think Soong ever referred to him as a friend, and I did that intentionally
I think you're
because
right.
he's always like, ah, yes, a good acquaintance or a good assistant, but he never referred to him as a friend,
Hmm.
which is incredibly cold. But it's kind of it's Fish is doing a power play of like, if you think that you're shifty or untrustworthy, it's like I'm worse. I'm the greater of the two evils here.
He's going to say,
And I also feel bad saying that too, but I feel like it's very in character.
God, how is he going to respond to that? Detrone is going to respond. Well, my dear doctor, I can't lie and say that doesn't sting a bit, but knowing you, I will strive my best to not take that too personally. So, anyhow, I do believe it is time for the two of us to be returning. What say you?
I suppose so. Arms kind of just crossed behind their back. I'm kind of looking left and right on as we leave out, see if I pick up anything, and then head on out the door.
Well, there is nothing else to pick up at that point, so.
I don't, and just for extra, just clarification of how it goes, I don't look or say anything to him. Continuing on the way, I'm perpetually just standing in front of him with my back like facing him and my hands kind of like crossed behind it.
Okay. All right.
I don't think I could ever say that line in real life. It's like, well, it's like we were never friends. That
All right.
You meant nothing to me.
All right. So you'll make it back to the site. It's been 11 hours since you left. So when you enter, everyone else is gone except for Bartaros, who is passed out on the table with a glass of wine still in his hand, mumbling something about "hit me again." Just
Hmm.
the drone will say, "Well, it seems we missed quite the party. Shall we contact the ship and make our way back?"
I don't say anything to him. I just is Sorab conscious, or is he also
Oh
kind
no,
of
everyone's gone except
okay?
everyone else is back on the ship
Okay,
or
I
back
don't
wherever
contact
else.
him. I like hit the comm. It's like we need 2 beam ups. It's like kind of the basic spiel. And I just go quiet again, back to position.
All
Still
right.
not looking at him.
There's the noise, the shimmering, and then you're both on
Thing
the
is,
transporter pad.
I really like Detrone. I really, really do like him out of character. But I I'm nervous because the thing is, the next thing I'm gonna do is when I have time is when the next recording for his lungs come in.
I knew you were gonna do
I'm
that.
gonna sit down and I'm gonna listen to the log in my room, and this is gonna decide how things go.
Okay.
It's either gonna be a red wedding that I could have totally biffed if I didn't catch the specific set of cues, or it's just gonna be something it's gonna be like for my new best friend Fish, I wanted to get him a gift, but I didn't want to tell him about it, and I'm just
Yeah.
gonna be like out of character crying in the shower over just ruined friendship. In real life, I'm just crying.
Oh, now I want to do that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Ugh.
Okay.
I should have. I know what actually was said in that conversation. I should have made the log. I didn't think to. But you will have that before next session.
Oh, okay.
So,
Oh, now I'm just gonna be dying for a week to know.
well, we'll see. Next week Tim won't be here.
Well, next
So,
session is 2
Oh
weeks.
yeah.
right.
Well, it might. I don't know if it's next
Cliffhanger.
session or not. Next week or not.
So, I mean, we could do another fish story next week if you want to. I'm totally fine with that. It's
Yeah.
fun. So,
I've.
Just exploring the emotional ramifications of what he hears.
It's just gonna be like It's like I literally
That'd
last
be the whole
flashback was
session.
me talking to the drone. So is this one just gonna be me like flashing back now after listening to what he says, or it's like before I tell him it's like it reminds me of that other story I told him right after this.
okay. All right. So you're gonna make it back to the ship, and yeah. Sorab's asleep right now. It is like between shifts. You basically should be going to bed as well. Natron will say, "Well, my dear doctor, uh, all that happened today notwithstanding, I do wish you a pleasant evening and restful dreams."
He's still facing. He walks away without saying anything. He's not on speaking terms right now until he gets something. I don't need sleep. I need answers.
Means okay. Yeah. All right. So you're gonna go to bed, I guess, unless you don't want to go to bed or.
I've said my piece. I know what I'm waiting for. I'm like kicking up in my chair, putting the recorder in front of me, and just hitting play until like the ding happen, like the next transfer occurs. So I'm just
Okay.
like fingers crossed, looking at it. Silence.
Well, so the what you're gonna have found out is that the last recording ended like 10 minutes before he went to that meeting.
10 minutes before he went. How? It's like isn't. No,
So
it's
basically, you've got to wait the next what was it, 18 hours you set the
yeah.
recordings to. You got to wait the next 18 hours before you get the next thing. So
Fish is going to silently stand up, and he's gonna freaking like just smash kick one of the objects in the corner. And it's like it's very. Aside of Fish says like he really hopes that Detrone didn't betray him. He's actually more emotionally shook than he would let on. So he's nervous. He's a bit nervous because Detrone's been pretty open about most stuff, and now he's suspicious, and I'm suspicious, and I don't want him to be a man.
Uh, this is gonna be what we talk about the next day, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, Fish is not going to be keeping quiet if this is a big thing.
Okay. Well, the next morning, the ship's actually already on its way. So you've got to go to, I guess the next stop would be Terra 2 for the delegates before you're going to go to the meeting. So that is the next stop on the little, our little journey here. Hang on, I got to make a note of something. Oh, there it is. Let's see. Okay. So there's going to be a briefing in the morning. So this is when, so you'll be everything that you already know about the meeting. How would you want to explain to Fish first? There, so Rab, what happened the day before?
I'll tell them that there was a lot of tension and issues related to the attempt or related to the consideration of invading uh,
Sumera.
Sura, Sumera. But we were able to find a way for them to start moving forward and hopefully resolve that.
So Fish is kind of preoccupied with other things, not really focusing. He's just kind of gonna glance over. He's like, "Ah, yeah, I see. Good job, Sorab. You're one of the finest people on the ship, after all." And just go back to what he's doing.
All right, what's going on?
Sorry.
That was dangerously close to a compliment.
Excuse me. Yes. Yes.
Beautiful.
I don't know what you mean, Sorab. Don't know what you mean at all. Merely making an observation. Kind of slows down, stops, like, "You're good with people, correct, Sorab?"
Something like that, yeah.
What's your feelings on betrayal?
Obviously, something that's avoided.
And if you find a like-minded individual who you may or may not have begun to open up even the slightest crack to, despite living most of your life shielded for the most part from emotions, and you were later to realize that that person was the exact type of person you didn't want to let in, how would you feel then?
This sounds like a cheesy romance story.
Yeah, it's like, is it a
Nah.
love triangle? But yeah,
Scientific
would be
camaraderie.
very angry. Why?
And how would you retaliate from said person?
Oh, that's going to be dependent.
Do you believe in
on the scale of
vengeance?
it.
Paying back someone twofold for wronging you? Because I've always abided by that rule. More of a callous perspective, but I feel like there might be something even deeper this time. More wrathful.
When we got free from from under the thumb of the Baul, in order to move forward and establish peaceful relations on our planet and join the Federation, we had to put the desire for vengeance aside. But it was a difficult process.
What if you've hmm, what if you've been a certain way for so long you can't even remember anything except vengeance and other negative emotions? How does one how does one come back from those feelings? That way of thinking?
Well, um, look, there's all kinds of methods and tools and systems that people have, and they're all great. There's some will work better than others for certain people, but in the end, the question is there something more important to you than it? When because if you try to put feelings of resentment or vengeance aside just for the sake of putting them aside, it's not going to work. There has to be something that is more important than whatever it was that you think you'll get out of the
Mm.
vengeance. So ultimately, none of those tools are worthwhile unless there is an actual commitment to reach somewhere else.
Hmm. I see. I see. It stands up. I followed few rules in my life, but I've tried to avoid killing as one of the foundations of being a doctor. At least I try to embody something, if you will. So at least to this point. I think by the end of tomorrow, we'll see whether or not that is tested or not.
What
We'll
is
see.
going on?
All in due time. All in due time. Slowly walks out. See you another day, my friend. Closes the door.
Character development? What?
Did it happen?
It's recorded.
It's in the
It's
bio.
it's on the internet, and the internet never lies.
The fact that I haven't said, like, I mean, honestly, I haven't called anyone a friend except maybe Cat, because of pre-designed character profiles. So, well, let's see. Maybe it'll be soon. Fish 2.0. It's gonna be a great guy. It's gonna be a whole like OG Deadpool versus new canon Deadpool.
Um. Okay. Sure.
Just it's character development. Either he's gonna become worse or better, and we're gonna see it in a session or two. At least try. It might relapse. We don't know.
Okay.
Thought I should add some extra tension for the week hold off.
Yeah. Oh, you're giving me lots of good stuff to work with.
It's gonna turn into a what are those like week? It's like a soap opera. It's becoming a soap opera.
As the worm turns. Yes.
Stars. Fault in Our Star Trek.
That's not a soap opera. That's an awful romance novel.
That's true. It could be a romance of science.
It wasn't. It was
I mean,
speaking of amputations, actually.
oh, ooh.
Yeah, let's not go there. And bad lungs. Let's not go there. Okay. Yeah,
Both of which are surprisingly relevant to this
yeah,
particular setting.
yeah. I watched that movie like almost 10 years ago.
I have
During
not,
a relationship.
but I think I
That
do
that
know about it.
that was a long
Mm.
time ago, like a lifetime ago almost. So anyhow, we are not talking about my history. We're talking about this. So all right, so there's that whole briefing happened. I'm sure everyone is very worried about Fish right now, because he's Who the hell is this? Actually, Crystal will secretly have a scan run to make sure it is fish. Comes back clean, so okay. Um, all right, so you arrive at the back at Terra 2. Um, so you're going to be greeted, standard greeting, and you're going to be asked to come down to the council chamber because they want to discuss what's about to happen with the meeting,
Okay.
with the uh, with the summit that's about to happen. So, all right, so Fish goes down too for some damn reason. There's Sorab and Crystal and NPCs. Um,
Mm.
all right, so once again, you're in the council chamber. There is an appropriate number of chairs set up this time.
Hey.
Progress. And once again, you've got the five of them: the Secretary of the Interior, of course, the President, Secretary of uh, War, Secretary of Intelligence, Mr. Spook, Secretary of the Interior, and Secretary of Science. And of course, standing behind her brother, as always, is Captain Blevins.
Question is, are they clones?
I mean, statistically, at least two of them are.
Hmm.
Entirely possible. I mean, you could ask, but
I know they come from like an actual. The thing is, they come from a bloodline that's like from the canon, according to the notes. But it's like, what if they're clones of the canon? You know, they might not be. Maybe they're like Blevin Mark 13. They really suck at space combat, until they got to this one.
uh, not how I wrote it up, but okay. Um, all right, so you're there, and the president say, "Welcome back." So, um, well, this is going to be interesting, I'm sure.
Yeah. What are we meeting these people for?
Because they basically want to discuss what's going to be happening at the summit.
Okay. So I thought they would start by asking questions.
So he's gonna go. Well, if there's nothing else, so
So is Mr.
Unless we were asked to like come with a presentation.
no, you were not. You were not.
So is Mr. One Time Cheers here?
Yes, he's the Secretary of Intelligence.
Okay. So are you going to explain why you blew up a ship?
Did you actually ask that?
I don't know if that was something. If we were supposed to keep it a secret, yes, I did not say it.
That's definitely something we're supposed to keep a secret.
If it's not something that we specifically said to keep a secret, then I probably said it.
Well, you know that. Okay, so here's what you know. You know that Vel's people were on that ship that got blown up, barely escaped. You're hiding them,
Okay.
so like they're not being told that you're not telling the Cochrans, the Terran, that Vel's people are still alive at all. You've explicitly asked not to mention that.
Okay, what about the blowing up the ship?
Or the fact that you got all the data
Okay.
from them. So the question is, how would
Yeah,
you
I guess.
know that he blew up the ship unless they
So
told
a
you?
smart person would have deduced those connections and
I
not
just need
said
you to
anything.
roll straight intelligence for me.
No, dude. It's emotional turmoil. Oh, oh
Oh.
no.
Oh shit.
Oh,
Whew.
it was a
Okay.
joke.
Okay. Um.
And this is how you derail a campaign, people, by sheer ass. Sir, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Tim.
God.
And it was mainly a joke, but I
Uh.
Does Fish even know about that stuff though?
did you.
Like which part?
I mean,
Like
probably.
the
I
stuff
mean,
that
he
we
knew
don't want
about
him to
Vale.
say.
I don't know what conversations he was a part of.
I mean, he knew about the blue, which was on the other ship, so he vaguely knew about them.
I mean, it's among the ship. It's not exactly a secret. I mean, the Vels people haven't been afraid of mentioning it.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah, it's very, very much could have gotten to Wish. All right, so that
Does Sorab want to make a dex roll to shut my mouth?
I do, as it happens.
Well,
If
bam,
that's an
right.
option,
okay.
if that
So this roll is going to determine whether you're able to shut him up before what he said actually got was actually fully heard.
I might
all
have
right,
dug
what
this
role
hole,
is
but I'm
it?
also trying to throw as much dirt back into it as I can.
So this is going to be dexterity and personal combat unarmed. So not a great chance. 57 and 22.
Right after he gets called a friend, well, bam, knuckle dusters across the
All right,
across the front.
40. Rolling against the 40,
Okay,
baby.
I believe in you. All right, the
Tim
mouth clap.
saves the campaign. So you're gonna hear. So what was this about blowing up a and then just? Okay, what do you do, Tim? How did you handle this? Just
A quick jab. It's like,
What? Ah, I'm gonna
McNamara,
go back to the ship.
the secretary is gonna Secretary of Intelligence is gonna say, "I'm sorry. What was that, Doctor?"
I was talking about how if we are gonna talk about how you let one of your crewmates try to blow us up a while back, and then we had to remove his reactor.
He's going to.
They talked about the cloning, right?
Yes,
Like,
yes.
so yeah, I wanted to know. So you just like, is that a genetic trait that you wanted in your like ship guys, or was blowing up people with ships kind of like your, just like an unintended consequence of the cloning? I just kind of curious about how you went there.
this feels like something that could be sorted out before we get back to Federation space.
President Blevins is going to go. Whoa, hold on a second. There's a lot to unpack here. Um, let's see. Let's
Out of
start.
character, you can't see it, but I'm like after saying that, like how I just completely switched it after you blocked my mouth. I'm like smiling, open mouth, thumbs up, like
Eh?
eh.
Eh?
But like in character, that did not happen because it would just be
Uh,
so. I did not mean to almost derail it that bad.
I could have made it work, but there would have absolutely had to have been consequences somewhere, but we would have to see. So, but congratulations. It wouldn't have derailed everything, but it would have made things a little
It
bit
would
complicated.
have been a sudden tense situation.
Yes. President Blevins is going to say, I don't know what just happened, but this feels like something that we can discuss at another time. So for right now, let's begin the actual discussion about the upcoming council, which is actually going to happen in 2 weeks because it's 11 o'clock. That's a good enough time to end it right
I almost
there.
gave myself a heart attack after being. The issue about being chaotic stupid all the time is
That's a different
sometimes
chart. That's a don't.
sometimes you
Um,
accidentally are you're chaotic stupid to your own like self, like you unintentionally do things you even didn't want to
I
do.
need to make a chart for that. Chaotic stupid.
Chaotic stupid unto
Instead of
thyself.
evil to good, it's smart to stupid.
Yeah.
Beauty. So you're bottom right. Just beautiful.
Though
Um,
there's stupid, smart, crazy, insane, and I'm somewhere on that spectrum.
oh, this is like a 5-dimensional chart. I
Yeah.
don't want to do this. What I do want to do is let Tim talk about Extra Life. Tim.
So Extra Life is the uh, so all that we do on this channel is in service to Extra Life. Extra Life is a fundraising system that's part of the Children's Miracle Network, in which we play games and raise money for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Every cent that's donated goes to the hospital in question, and it is used for things like care and entertainment for the kids and machinery and stuff like that. So it's a great cause. It really helps kids in need and helps them to enjoy a very dangerous and scary time in their lives. when they're at the hospital, and helps with the families that are going through this difficult time with them. So we would encourage you to check out the link that we have there posted in chat to donate to any of our pages that are currently active so far. So far, we have Boston Children's, Bay State Children's, Oshai, and I think that might be it at the moment. But there are others in our team that will show up throughout the year as they get their pages set up. To also check out on the Rabbit Haberdashery page and on my page, there's information on um, the Hungry Dark. The Hungry Dark is the game that we're going to be doing as our 24-hour marathon this November. Your donations can actually impact the direct story. So you, by making donations, get to play the part of the gods and intervene in the story to help or hinder the party as they're trying to deal with this massive threat. So there's information about that and how to make those donations and what those amounts are going to be available on the page and through the link that's also on the page that kind of goes to the website. So we encourage you to check all that out and consider donating and helping us out. Help us help kids.
Alrighty. Sounds good. Thank you, Tim. Also, 1 point for both of you as usual. So, yeah, Cornless and I'll talk. I'm totally open to doing another fish story next week because that was very fun last time. This time I'll actually, knowing that it's going to be a fish story, I'll actually try to think of a scenario so it's a
Oh, like
little
a
less
straight.
chaotic.
Unless
Oh yeah,
unless
I'll.
Matt or Chris are available. Yeah.
Mm.
True, 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 true. So if they're available, we'll do we'll proceed as normal. If not, fish story time. So we'll make it work either way. I should really keep a story for you in the back pocket anyway, because God only knows. So just another. Well, I guess you won't be telling the story to Detrone this time.
I know. Oh no, actually no, I can. What we're gonna do is we go back to when I was cutting off the guy's leg, and it's gonna be from that perspective.
Yeah. Yes. This is someone else's. This is a different surgery. Like
Uh,
just something. And this other person's like, this person is terrified of this story because imagine if you told the story last time you like with the rats and all that. Would you
yeah.
like your surgeon to be talking about having basically necrotic robotic rats? Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen,
So I had
when
bees,
you're in
rats.
surgery, you're unconscious. They talk about all kinds of stuff.
Or when you're in consultation. I don't know, sometime during
Mm.
that. But this dude's poking around in you and he's talking about
Well,
all
this
the
guy,
ethics
this
of
kind of, he had might have had
violations.
more minor injuries like burns or something that
Something
needed like
like that.
ointment and stuff.
We'll figure it out.
See,
We'll figure it out.
yeah,
So anyhow, gentlemen, I wish you a good evening, and as always, live long and prosper.
live long and prosper.